You're listening to a show on the Planet Film podcast feed. All right, welcome everybody to episode 18 of the Planet Film podcast. So as we do every week, we'll go ahead and introduce ourselves. So we do have a special guest. I'll let TJ intro them. But as always, every week, my name is Sean Monk.
I'm TJ Cornwell.
And I'm Danielle Eggener.
All right, welcome back everybody to episode 18, as we said, of the Planet Film podcast. Today we have a special guest with us. For those who have been listening to the show, have heard probably TJ talk about this person. It is none other than his significant other, Danielle, is joining us today because something that we will talk about later on in the show in the Shooting the Shit segment is that Danielle is actually going to be starting her own podcast called Rants on Fire. So we'll be doing a little bit more talk about that towards the end of the show after the review. But yeah, so welcome to episode 18. I can't believe we're almost to week 20 of this. Well, longer than week 20, but show 20. Because
technically should be like 24, 25.
Yeah, probably. It should be, yeah. But yeah, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. As we do every week, we like to just talk about, kind of catch up what we've been doing, what things have been going on with us. I guess I'll start. This week I had a wedding that I was a part of. I was a best man at one of my best friends' wedding. Eric is something that I've known about. I had to do for like a year and a half, but I winged the speech on the spot, and I have no recollection. I have no recollection at all of what I said. Yeah, and nobody got it on video besides the videographer, so I have no idea when I'll be able to see it. But I think it went well from what I heard other people say. And then the only other thing that I have been going on is I finally, after their big Emmy sweep last week, I finally started watching Schitt's Creek on Netflix, which is an original series from the Pop Culture Channel. All of it's on, but then it kind of moved over to a Netflix original. All of it's on Netflix now. The last season just dropped a couple days early, and I've been binging the crap out of it. I'm on season 3, about to be on season 4. It is fantastic. I don't know if either of you have seen it or if anybody watching has seen it, but it is so good. It is like it deserves all the Emmys. I won't even get into it. It's a fantastic show. I put it right up there on par with something like, Good Place, something like that. It's just really, really funny. And of course, Eugene Levy is fantastic. And I got to give a shout out to Daniel Levy, his son, who co-show runs it with Eugene Levy and writes most of the episodes and also plays David in the show. He is so fantastic in that show. But yeah, I think that'll do it for me. That's pretty much all I've been up to that we haven't already talked about on the show. So why don't we go with, you guys can pick either one of you guys. What have you guys been up to? Or what have we been up to together, I guess.
I'll touch on real quick, like what I've been doing, which is not much. So about a year ago, do you remember the murder?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, where it was this guy said his wife and his kids went missing, and it was all over the news. And he was like, "Help me find my kids and my wife." Like, do you remember this? It was all over Twitter. Apparently, it was like national news.
And everyone felt bad for him because they were like, "This poor guy, his wife left him."
Oh no, I don't remember that.
Okay, so Netflix just released a documentary about it, and
Danielle,
we're halfway through. Danielle was like, or maybe not even halfway through. Danielle was like, "Isn't this that thing?"
No, it was like literally like as I saw the husband.
Danielle was like, "Isn't this like that murder mystery that was on, or that was going on 2 years ago?" I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And then as we kept getting into it, she was like, "No, this is definitely it." She's like, "You really don't remember this?" I was like, "No, I have no recollection of whatever this is." And it was this guy who I mean, it's not a spoiler or anything, but the guy murdered his wife and kids.
Is this American Murder, The Family Next Door?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was huge.
The guy murdered his wife and kids because he had a new girlfriend. Basically, that's what I got. Right.
It was so big because everyone like believed him and they were looking for them, and then it was like, oh, just kidding, he did it.
Yeah, and he was like begging. He's like, everybody, please, like, I need to find my
I
wife.
think I
And
do remember this now. I just saw a
yeah, like I
picture of
had
the
no
guy.
recollection of this.
Yeah, like
And
once
Yeah.
you see him, you're like,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah, I
way he
remember
like,
seeing about it.
not to get into it, but the way he killed his family is very brutal. But
Wow.
other than that, I finished or me and Danielle watched Arrival, so I've finally seen all of Denis Villeneuve's
Oh,
movies. I
wow.
mean, all of his like mainstream big ones.
A little Abbott and
Um,
Costello action going on in
yeah,
that movie.
I
Great film.
saw
Great film.
Seven. Never seen that before. I'd never seen Seven.
What was in the box? Did you find out or no?
Well, I as soon as he opened the box, I was like, oh, I know what that is.
You didn't know what it was before watching it?
No,
I
I
didn't
didn't.
watch that.
Wow.
No, as soon as he was like, I have a package, and I was like, oh, I know what it is, because I was like, where else are we gonna go with it?
Yeah.
I watched Scanners. If you ever watched that, David Cronenberg.
Oh wow.
That movie was a little wild. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. Well, now that I'm definitely now that I would say fully settled into the new house, I'm definitely gonna try and watch more stuff. I got my totally unrelated to watching any sort of content. I got my VPN subscription back, so I'll be able to do things with my VPN. But yeah, I'm hoping to get back on track because like Letterbox, everything I've fallen off of so hard just with the move
I
and
noticed
stuff.
you haven't
I know.
logged anything.
And I've been watching stuff too. I've been watching stuff, but I just keep like forgetting to do it. But I got to get back on track. I got to get back on track. What's been up with you, Danielle? Have you watched anything different than him or?
Not really. I'm home all the time. I
Same.
watched this movie, The Silence. It's on Netflix. I think it's a Netflix original. It's basically a Quiet Place ripoff.
Wow.
Stanley Tucci. That's it.
That's
Everything
got my
else.
attention. All right. Well, as we said, we will definitely be, of course, hearing from Danielle throughout the show, and then we'll be opening up to have her talk about the new podcast and just kind of have a discussion about that later on in the shooting the shit segment of the show. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into our first segment of today's show, which is, of course, as every week, our new news segment where we break down everything that was in the week of entertainment news for you guys. We have a couple of heavy hitters here and a couple new information on some of these stories that I haven't done. I just did these show notes like 4 hours ago, and there's already new information. So we'll get to that as we go through it. But first and foremost, we have finally cast the lead, not many other actors, but the lead character for the Game of Thrones prequel, House of the Dragon, which, of course, as we have, I believe, talked about on this show, I think it was our first or second. I think it was our second show. We basically did a retrospective, looking 1 year later to see if the last season of Game of Thrones was really that bad. And we talked a little bit about still the verdict was still bad, but we talked a little bit about our hopes for this prequel show. And so basically, it cast. Let's see here. Paddy Constantine, who had worked with HBO before, and he is set to be kind of the main. I mean, it's a Game of Thrones type show, so I don't know how specific main character means. I mean, there's normally like in Game of Thrones, there's like 5 or 6 main characters, but at least one of them, he seems to be the main Targaryen in this show. So what are your guys' thoughts on this? What are your guys' thoughts on the fact that the prequel is, finally starting to move ahead over at HBO? And do you want to see more from the Game of Thrones universe, or do you want to see them take their time and kind of nail it before expanding even more?
As far as what I'll say is, I'm excited for this. I don't know when it's going to go into production because COVID, but as long as it's like planned and not like rushed, and maybe if we can go back to traveling from one place to another, it takes like 3-4 episodes, that'd be great. I don't know how long they're planning to do this. It's going to be like a full like Game of Thrones again, right? Like multiple seasons, not like
Oh yeah, yeah. It's not a limited
Okay.
series or anything.
I'm interested to see how long like they can like go with Game of Thrones. Like how long until people are like, I don't really care anymore.
Yeah, like how deep they can kind of mine that well for
this
content.
this isn't in a book that he's written, correct?
I think it's just like loosely based on some
Yeah.
of the Targaryen lore that has been talked about in the show and in the
Yeah.
books.
Yeah, because in
my
the show,
guess
like you
is
get glimpses, like flashbacks and stuff like that. So
yeah, like my guess is that I would feel 100% confident in saying this show is going to be a prequel to the show, not the
Yeah.
books. So for the minor details and big details that are differences, I would say it's definitely going to be going off the canon of the show. Right? I mean, I feel like that would make
Yeah.
sense because otherwise you just get yourself again in another big thing where you're like, well, this happened in this book said that actually this happened to this Targaryen 6,000 years ago. Like, but he said that he was already dead, and it's like HBO does not want to get themselves in that mess again.
Do they have like a specific showrunner?
Or no? Let me see. Why don't we get Danielle's thoughts, or you guys talk about it? I'll look through here to see if there's a showrunner picked.
Well, I've only seen the first like 2 seasons of Game of Thrones, so still working on it. Don't really know anybody's names still. It's very confusing. It's hard to get into. There's just a lot of information. You need to like study it. So.
Wait. Picked up.
So this was so that's what I'm reading right now. So Ryan Condell and Miguel Sapochnik will serve as co-showrunners. So those two. So it says here Ryan Condell
Network's Colony.
I
vaguely remember seeing commercials for that show.
Same. Yeah, I did not watch Connolly. Why do I keep saying what was going on? I did not watch Colony. But I don't know. I mean, if it was the only information I have here is what's in the article, which says that it was picked up straight to series, which is a good sign for a showrunner to get a show picked up straight to series. So I don't know. It seems that we're kind of having two unknowns here, and that they're maybe going to rely heavily on the story and the caliber of actors, I guess maybe. But it's going to be very, very interesting.
That guy wrote Rampage.
Oh, and it says here, by the way, it says the character. So he is actually, so Paddy Constantine is actually playing King Viserys Targaryen. So he is the main character. So it is going to be very, very interesting.
I forget.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that, I don't know. Yeah, because that's right. Because do you remember we talked about there was originally a Game of Thrones spinoff that did a pilot that never aired with Naomi Watts as the lead? Do you remember that? And then they scrapped it. Yeah, they scrapped it. And they were like, we don't like this one. And that was supposed to be set like thousands of years ago. This one is only set like 100 years ago. Because this is Dany's grandfather. It's the Mad King. So it's going to be very, very... interesting to see if there's any closer ties.
Does this make you want to watch it anymore? Like, does this make you want to like finish Game of Thrones?
I mean, I wanted to finish Game of Thrones anyway. It's just, like I said, it's hard to get into, and it's difficult to remember. There's so much going on.
Yeah. It's one of those shows that I feel like is bingeable, but it has to be the only show you're watching. You know what I mean? You can watch it very slowly over time and be like fine, but you'll forget stuff. That's why I think if you're gonna binge it, like you gotta like drop every other show that you're watching, because you're just not. It's just the way that the show and the lore of the books is that it's like you cannot keep it all in all the time. You know what I mean? Like there's even stuff that like, I forget.
You can finish a season in a day. Like it's
it's because it's so short. Yeah, eight or
an hour.
10 episodes, and they're like 45. Yeah, they're like 45 to an hour. Yeah. All right. Well, that is our thoughts on the Game of Thrones casting there. So next up, we're gonna go through, and we're gonna try and go quickly through these because you guys seem to be responding more to the shorter episodes that we've been doing, especially on the podcast feed, which we actually just broke, I think, 350 listens to. So
Oh shit.
that's nice.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Good
yeah.
looks.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I hadn't checked the overall number in a while. I
Yeah.
thought that we were around like 200.
Yeah.
But no, we're up there. We got a big surge in the last couple of weeks. So I'll just take this time because I always forget. Guys, if you like the shows, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel, like the videos, comment below. Catch us with the live shows. Get involved because we're trying to create a community here for you guys to be able to talk movies and entertainment news and TV shows and all that stuff. So get subscribed. I'll try to remember to say it again at the end of the show. I always forget to mention
That
it.
notification bell.
Yes, but yes, smash that like button and get the bell on. All right. So next up here, we have a bit of sad news, which is that longtime Netflix hit show, I would call it, Glow, has been unfortunately canceled after it had been renewed due to COVID. So in the regular sweeping, couple weeks where they announce all the shows that are getting renewed, Glow was right up there. It got renewed for a fourth and final season. But Netflix, I believe this came out yesterday. Yesterday it came out. Netflix has decided that just because of the nature of the show being a humongous ensemble cast at all times, they said it's just not practical to film the show in this time, and it was going to be a fourth, and this is just Netflix's reasoning. It was going to be a fourth and final season, so they were like, you know what? It's just really not worth the risk right now that we would take, which is a terrible thing for any show to have, especially one that's loved this much. Yeah, I know. It's surprising. I mean, not really for a Netflix show because Netflix shows, they always are like 3 or 4 seasons and then they get canceled. You know what I mean? I feel like Netflix is as quick to cancel as they are to pick up a show. But yeah, so in kind of a shocking reversal, they decided to cancel it and not even give it that fourth and final season, just end it where the show ended. And this is one of the stories that actually has an update to it where I just saw on Twitter about 45 minutes ago that Mark Maron actually posted a video. I'm not sure if there's a change.org or anything going, but he basically posted a video saying, hey, the fight's not over yet. If you really, really want to, you can tell Netflix what you want. Because really, I mean, eventually they could do a season 4. You know what I mean? All these people are still under contract. It's just, if they can work out the contracts to get extended, you could just be like, listen, the fans want it and they understand if it has to come out in 2022 or something. You know what I mean? That's something that they understand, but they'd rather get that last season to wrap up the story than have to just be left unsatisfied, basically. So what are your guys' thoughts on this? Have you seen, and I'll say for the record, I have never seen a frame of Glow. I've heard tons about it. I've never seen it.
I have.
Oh, there you go. Boom.
Perfect.
And it was one of those things where I wasn't doing anything and I was scrolling through Netflix trying to find a new, not movie, but TV show. And I started it and the 2 seasons were already out. Watched them in a day or two. And it was really good. I didn't expect to like it at all. I didn't watch the 3rd season, but yeah, the first 2 seasons were very good. I could not stop watching. I binged it 2 days.
Yeah, I've actually been binging a small television show. It used to be popular called Hannah Montana on Disney Plus with my roommate. And
Small production.
Yeah, it's small production. Yeah, just a little tiny show. Nobody really came of anything. There no big stars came out of it or anything. No, but seriously, we've been just kind of when we're bored throwing that on and watching when we're doing stuff around the house. And the 3rd or 4th episode of Hannah Montana, Allison Brie is in it. And I was like, oh my God, this is oh my God. And I was telling my roommate,
right?
Yes, exactly. I was telling my roommate all about who she was, and I was like, she's huge now. She's got this big Netflix show, and that was 2 days ago.
Franco?
Exactly. And that was like 2 days ago, and then it gets canceled, and I was like, oh my god! Right after we talked about it. But I just thought that was so funny that I was like, we were watching Hannah Montana of all things, and Allison Brie pops in as like the most over the top like Valley girl I have ever seen in my life. Um, but yeah, let's get TJ. Did you have any more thoughts on this or anything else you wanted to add to the
No,
discussion?
it's sad. I don't have any thoughts.
Yeah.
I've never watched it. I never watched an episode in my life.
Yeah. Well,
It's about
yeah,
what? It's about wrestling, right?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
about female wrestlers. It's like
Okay, gotcha.
it's like kind of loosely based on a true thing that happened, a true movement of like female wrestlers and stuff.
Mm.
Kind of like the movie that we
The,
were going to
movie.
talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, loosely based on some real life female athletes. All right. So, and if you guys want to save the show, go over to Mark Maron's Twitter, see what he's doing specifically that you can do to help out. All right. So next up, we have a humongous story. Yeah, there we go. Getting back in it. When I was writing up the show notes, I just said to myself, I'll talk about theaters closing, but I will never talk about Tenet again.
You want to bring up the box office?
So of Tenet?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just thinking today. Okay, we'll talk. I just said that, but we'll talk about Tenet for a second. I was just thinking how big a deal that movie was, and it is like gone. Like there's like nobody talking about it anymore. It came and went because it's just the way that they released it. It's like there was no big huge crescendo weekend that like happened on Twitter or anything. So it made some good money, not even remotely enough
Worldwide.
money.
Worldwide, it's at 307 million.
Yeah, I mean that the budget was like 300 million. So
Yeah.
that's not, and they had like 4 separate marketing campaigns. So there's no way. They would need to make at least, I would say they would need to make like $500 million on that movie to even start turning a profit.
Yeah.
Shout out to
did you see it's gonna Blu-ray DVD in December? Is
Not surprised.
Reports.
Not
Yeah.
surprised at all. God, so that means digital probably even sooner then.
They probably had to tie Nolan down for that one. He goes, "You will not release this movie on Blu-ray."
Yeah, but
And-
you can watch
yeah.
Inception in Fortnite. Jesus. Okay, so Tenet talk over for hopefully the last time in everyone's life. Warner Brothers, just maybe next time when Chris asks you for $300 million, just rein it in a little bit. Maybe give him 30 and see what he does. Okay, so big story here. So we've obviously, it's been a couple weeks since there have been big theater stories because everything was just kind of very irresponsibly opening up again and just kind of going back to business as usual in a lot of states. I believe 48 states, yeah. Except for New York, obviously not being one of them, as we've talked about before. But with the delay of James Bond No Time to Die, which actually got pushed another year, I think it was. We talked about it last week, with Bond being pushed and then also Fast and Furious being pushed. 2 humongous blockbusters that were supposed to do a lot for the box office that are no longer being coming out on their original dates. Regal and its parent company Cineworld, who has cinemas, as it says, all throughout the world, both in the UK and the EU and stuff, they have decided that there is just not enough content coming out to warrant being opened. So they have made the, I would say bold decision, but I would say the absolute correct decision to shutter all locations in the UK and the US, every single location they have worldwide, which yes does include every single Regal cinema, which are the primarily, I mean, we all have worked, everybody, all 3 of us on here have worked at AMC, and there's AMC's near us, but primarily where we live in Western New York, it is absolutely dominated by Regals.
It's a Regal town.
Yeah, there's 2 AMCs. One is almost brand new, and then there are like 10 Regals, like all throughout, and that there might even be more than that. So this is going to have a huge impact on our area, and I would definitely say this is going to have a huge impact on Governor Cuomo's decision, which obviously he still had not made a decision when Regal decided to close. Uh, I'll just start throwing out because this is kind of a three-part story. We're gonna get to the next part in just a minute here, but let's kind of go around and see what our thoughts are on this. My personal thoughts are just in terms of New York State, because as you guys know, we've talked about in the past, we are all in New York State. That's where we're waiting on. That's why we're out of work right now because the AMC's are not open. The theater industry has not been able to reopen in New York State. I would say wisely. And my thing is, I think that Regal closing, because New York is such a Regal dominated place, even if it wasn't, even if Regal was 40% or 50% of the state's, theaters, I cannot see how Andrew Cuomo sees this news and is saying, okay, well, if Regal doesn't even think it's worth the risk to be open, I'm not opening the industry. And also, another step in that, he's going to look at it and say, okay, well, that's 50% of all the theaters gone. That means if we do open it, everyone is going to rush to the few AMCs that there are. And it's just going to be overcrowding. It's going to be a mess.
Well,
you know what I mean?
New York City, it's AMC.
Well, yeah, in different pockets of the state, it's different, but even still, it's like the reason alone of just that, looking at this story and him, realizing if Regal is not taking the risk to open, then I am not doing that for the state.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts on it. What do you think? We'll go to Danielle first on this, and then we'll wrap around to TJ.
I mean, I see why some theaters would want to open for their own sliver of hope, but I do not think they should. I think that's a smart move. It's just nothing's being released, everything's being pushed, and there's really it's not a need. It's not a necessity. It's a privilege basically to go to the movie theater. So I think it was smart. They'll probably be losing money if they were open anyways. So yeah.
Well, UK, I'm not surprised because I thought I heard today that UK is about to shut down again.
Yeah, the UK is their numbers are going up and up and up already.
Yeah.
Or all of a sudden, I should say.
But yeah, this makes sense. Like Danielle said, I think they'd just be losing money because I don't know. I can't imagine there's that many people showing up to these theaters for these movies that, have been out for however many years already. You can only see Tenet so many times.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, let's lead this into our next topic. Our next part.
Yeah, so our next part of this is basically, so for the people that have been watching know that we have talked about extensively here all the drama that went down with AMC Theaters and Universal Studios. First, where they had a humongous fight or falling out, if you will, because of the film Trolls World Tour, which was going to both premiere in theaters that were open and on VOD at the same time. NATO, the National Association of Theater Owners, fought back hard on this. And so did AMC, up until the point where then AMC made this kind of back alley deal with Universal to say, all right, fine, you know what? Instead of waiting 70 days to put something on digital, you just have to wait 7 days or 14 days, depending on the area and the market. But because we're shortening that window so much, we want a cut of the profits of your VOD releases. And so now this all ties into this next part, which is that in the wake of Regal announcing that, Cineworld announcing that all Regal locations are going to be closing, AMC, and this is coming from the Hollywood Reporter, AMC Theaters pledges to stay open, touts the PVOD pact that they made with Universal. So basically AMC is saying we are not reclosing. And then a couple other smaller chains also joined in that and said we are not going to reclose. and Cineplex as well was another one, which is the big Canadian chain, also said we're not
Mhm.
going to reclose. But the big thing here is that AMC is basically saying, the big reason that they're not going to close is because they don't want to jeopardize the deal that they have with Universal. But that is such a weak argument to me, because the only reason they want to honor that deal is because if AMC closes, guess what? Universal is still putting those movies out on VOD.
Yeah.
If if AMC stays open, guess what? They're still putting those movies out on VOD.
Mhm.
It has nothing to do with it, and AMC will still get their cut even if AMC is closed.
Yeah.
Because, well, actually, maybe, because I don't know the specifics of the deal. There might be a clause that says AMC only gets a cut if it's a movie that is in theaters. If it goes
Yeah.
straight to VOD, AMC might not get anything. So to
Mhm.
me, I understand that they are saying that their pact with Universal is what is primarily wanting them to stay open, but that's a one-way street. That only benefits AMC. Universal doesn't give a crap if they open or close, because actually I'm sure Universal would prefer them to close so that they don't have to cut them in on the deal, or so that they can just put all their movies straight to VOD.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this? So then we just have one other segment of this that's off the back of AMC saying that they are not going to close. So we'll go with we'll do TJ then Danielle on this one.
Um.
Mhm.
So I get that they want to just. I don't know. I'm not surprised that they're staying open, because they've shown that that's the kind of company they are. I am actually no, I am, because I thought when Regal said that they were going to close all their locations, that AMC would be like, yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Because
I genuinely thought too as well. Yeah.
because AMC, in my opinion, well, actually, I don't know this for a fact or anything, but I believe AMC is in way more trouble financially than Regal is. Granted,
Oh,
they're both in
absolutely.
the same business and they both
Yeah.
make money the same way.
Mhm.
So I can't imagine Regal's doing any better than AMC is.
Mhm.
But like you said, like,
But Regal's got that stockpile of cash that AMC just spent 5 years spending renovating every single
Yeah.
theater and stuff.
well, that's also why they're the number one theater chain in the world.
True. Yeah. Yeah. It's like
Um,
Campia says, basically they leveraged everything and then the pandemic hit.
Yeah. But like you said, like, if the deal is, you only get this money if the movie's in your theater, then like, what's the, it's a lose-lose. Not a lose-lose, but it's like, if you close, you're not getting the money. So I guess
Yeah.
it's forcing you to stay open, but also how much money are you making off of that?
Yeah.
It's probably not enough to cover the cost of paying the employees and cleaning, and especially like, it's probably, I can't imagine that stuff, like they released those videos of like them spraying that stuff in this. I can't imagine that's cheap.
Yeah.
Like that looks like it looks like
Mhm.
pesticide. Like
Yeah.
it's like, oh, gotta get rid of
Yeah.
it's like bed bugs.
Mhm. And I'm sure that that's happening between every single round.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh, my
definitely,
God, dude.
definitely, definitely.
Dude,
Yeah.
if we were working,
You know.
working during this, I would lose it.
Well, I mean, it's just like, not to get too inside baseball on this,
Yeah.
because the movie.
Well, yeah. Mhm.
But for those who don't know, you have like I would say like 5 to 8 minutes on the like high end to clean a theater and get the whole
Yeah.
thing turned over. Yeah, that's on the high end. That's like, there's definitely times where it's like 1 or 2 minutes. But it's like, you're doing the regular cleaning, you're doing the extra cleaning, then you're doing the little, as TJ said, the little pesticide gun. Like, that's like 25, 30 minutes between showtimes, like,
Mhm.
plus the trailers. So that's like just the cleaning time. So that's like an hour between showtimes. I can't even understand how that would work. Like, I can't even wrap my mind around it. All right, good talk.
Yeah.
So
Danielle looked like she
Oh.
wanted to say something.
I don't know. I just feel as though
Oh.
AMC is very like stubborn
yeah,
in that sense. Like, as you were saying, the cleaning itself they would have to completely wipe out a round of shows and replace it with cleaning if they were to meet the standards. So that
Yeah.
is losing money because you're going to have less shows. You're probably going to add on more ushers to clean the theaters, which is also losing money. I think it's completely like stupid just to be open at all. But
Yeah.
they're too like want to be like, oh, we won. I told you so. So
Yeah.
And I think there's some stories too of there's some of the like probably theaters in smaller markets are only opening on like weekends and stuff like that. Like they're not even gonna be open during the week.
Yeah.
Which honestly, it's probably not worth it because I can't imagine that many people are coming during the week,
From
let alone the weekend.
payroll alone, you're losing money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like Danielle said, in order to meet those higher standards, you can't do that with 2 ushers. You can't do that with 1 usher on a Thursday night. It's impossible. Because who is going to be there to do everything else that an usher has to do? Or who is going to be there if you have to pull somebody from the concession stand, even if it's just popcorn and drinks? If you have to pull somebody from the concession stand to rip tickets because somebody is doing the little pesticide gun in theaters 6, 7, and 8, all right back to back, then you're paying 4 extra people to be on, and you still don't have enough people to go around because you have to do all
we
this
were
extra
understaffed
stuff.
when we had 3 ushers. We were just
Exactly.
like-
Yeah, exactly. Like if you got a bad like Saturday or like a Friday night or something, you could have the supervisor.
miss it.
You could have the supervisor, a manager, and like 3 ushers, and you would
you'd
still
be
need
screwed.
to you would still need to pull people from the stand. It's just crazy. It's just craziness. I don't know. Okay, so this brings us to our next thing, which is a great thing for me and Danielle to be talking about, which is that on the back of AMC saying that they are not going to close, there is officials at the ratings agency, which basically it monitors companies that are in financial trouble and everything to see how long they can really be viable. It's an independent thing that they just kind of evaluate companies, and so basically the ratings agency is warning that AMC Entertainment is going to basically run out of liquidity completely within the next 6 months.
I
So
should sell my stock.
Is that right?
yeah, so basically, AMC can say all they want that they are not going to close, but eventually the doors might be closed on them. So what are your thoughts on that? I guess we'll go to Danielle first. I don't know. Yeah, we'll go with you first because I just can't even function.
I don't know who's like in charge of their budgeting or what, but I just feel like they would be in a much better stable position where they can close for X amount of months and reopen if they didn't focus on spending money before all this on such unnecessary things like menu items that nobody buys and ends up getting damaged or anything.
You mean the
Fish.
The fish thing.
Oh my
1
gosh.
unit sold. Or just
What a
in
joke.
general, I just think they should have been a lot smarter
Mhm.
in hindsight.
So
Well, I was saying this before the pandemic, but
Mhm.
yeah. So you're telling me I should sell the stocks I have.
I'm telling you, you should
Shares.
never have gotten them in the first place.
I thought, I bought them when, it was March. I go, we're coming back in July. We're going to shoot right up when we come back.
Oh
Turns
my
around,
gosh.
It's October. We're still in this.
I just remember, I'm just scrolling through my calendar right now. I just remember.
Yeah.
So the date was Monday, the 16th of March.
Yeah.
And they said, let's see, they said 6 to 12 weeks. So they were thinking, oh, we'll be back on April 27th.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say it was
it-
originally May, and
Yeah,
then
Yeah.
July, then August. Then
It-
they told me end of September. I haven't heard anything. about
it's
it.
weird to watch,
that was the
like-
last thing I heard. Yeah.
It's weird to watch like clips of like I watch like my morning sports shows, and they're debating from across each other, and the date on the top right is like March 10th, and it's like you don't even know what's coming. But I don't think obviously they should probably close because they'll probably lose less money if they close, but you're still going to lose money if you're closed.
Yeah.
But I don't think, like, I can't see them going out of business. Like, I just can't. It's just nothing, something I can't fathom because I feel like they would get money from somewhere, you know? Like, I
One
feel
word.
like
Sears.
Amazon.
No, yeah, well, yeah, same thing. I mean, think about it. Sears,
Which they can buy them. The Amazon could very well buy one of these companies.
well,
if they
remember we
wanted to now.
were talking about that back in May. Back in May
Yeah.
when we first started the podcast, that was the
Yeah.
news, was that Amazon was about two phone calls away from buying AMC Entertainment outright and just having theaters. But yeah, no, but seriously, look at the example of like Sears. That was the biggest store in the world. And now the entire company is just completely gone. Everywhere. It's gone. Oh, like overnight. It's the
Yeah.
exact same thing. And AMC, yes, it's been around for 100 years. Happy birthday, by the way. It's
What a way to
nowhere
spend your
near
100th year anniversary.
Exactly. It's nowhere near as big or as lucrative as Sears was. And Sears, it just took the right amount of time and it just went belly up and it was gone. The exact same thing can happen with AMC,
fair,
especially in towns like ours where it's like 80% competitors and then like 20% AMC. AMC could go poof in Western New York and barely anyone would notice because they would just go to the closest Regal, which is probably closer to their house.
What
Just
is
saying.
closer right now to us? What's closer to you? It's still AMC, right?
Closer to me is Elmwood 16.
I was gonna
Right?
say Elmwood.
No.
No, I feel like you're equal.
Oh,
distance
no,
from,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
Elmwood
yeah.
and
Yeah.
Maple.
Elmwood
thought
and
you
Maple,
were
yeah,
on-
I'm really close.
I thought you were on a different street. Never mind. So yeah. So what will we be?
I feel like it's either Transit or Maple. Transit.
Oh,
Regal
for
line.
you guys? Yeah, because you guys are only a
We're right next to
couple, down the throughway from there. But yeah, exactly. See, it's like that's only one like we're both close to the same AMC, but we're both equally close to two different Regals. Like and that's not even all of them. Like where I just moved from, there was a Regal right in that town in Lewiston. You know what I mean? Like there are Regals everywhere. Whereas to go to the closest AMC when I lived in Lewiston, it was a 30-minute drive. Like
Regals have
people are
always
not
seemed
gonna do
so
that.
far to me because of where my parents live. Like it
Yeah.
always seemed like it was like when worked at AMC, I was like 5 minutes away. Like,
well,
it
yeah,
wasn't
you
even,
live so close to
Yeah.
AMC, yeah.
So
um,
it's still hard to fathom that I'm like, oh,
See, I was
Regal's,
like the
only
opposite.
5 seconds away.
I was
yeah, I
always
mean,
Regal growing up.
when I used to live by
Lockwood Mall.
Danielle, yeah, like when I used to live by Danielle, like way back in the day, like I mean, you'd walk to Elmwood.
Well, no, originally in Lockport, the closest thing they had the Lockport Mall movie theater, which is kind of closed down with the mall in like the
Mhm.
early 2000s, and then you had to hike up like 25 minutes to the Transit Regal.
Yeah.
So
It's just crazy. I don't know, but hopefully next time we're talking about the theaters and stuff again, there's concrete news that we can talk about. But speaking of concrete news, we'll go on to our next topic here. And let us know in the comments, let us know in the live chat. For those that are watching, sound off. What are your thoughts on the whole AMC situation and the Regal situation? Do you think it is wise for Regal to be closing all operations? Do you think AMC should be following suit, or do you think they should just kind of tough it out and just keep on going through?
Yeah. The only reason I would want, sorry, real quick. The only
Yeah.
reason I wish Cuomo would be like, you can open is just for like the little like North Parks of the world and the Dips and Amhersts of the
I was
world.
gonna say we're close to the Amherst Theater too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Just for those little guys.
hmm Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but at the same time, like,
Not that I would go.
yeah, like I understand that, but at the same time, like, those are the theaters. Like, let's just say Dipson, for example. That's the kind of thing that generally, I mean, I'm not familiar with other finances or anything, but generally, a place like that is gonna be okay because when they're closed, their rent.
They don't have,
Yeah, like their rent
Yeah.
is probably super
Fair.
low. They're not AMC who has to worry about 700 rents all coming due on the
They
same
also-
day.
like selling popcorn still when the movie
Yeah.
theaters were closed.
Yeah, when they
They're
were
like,
closed, they
"Come
were
get popcorn."
exact, and that is so smart. But yeah, it's just I think they'll do all right because they're like a smaller operation. They can get
Mhm.
small business loan helps when it's available. They can do all that kind of stuff. So hopefully they'll be
Speaking
okay.
of speaking of loans, did you see the news? This
The
is
what?
completely off topic,
The
but
what?
no severance or whatever it's called. No unemployment stuff. No stimulus.
No stimulus until
Until after the
after
election.
Yep. Oh yeah, I'm aware. I got 80,000 buzzes and notifications when that Twitter storm broke out. Yeah, I don't know. It's just honestly,
Sean, don't let COVID dominate your life. What are you doing?
You're right. Don't fear COVID. Okay, don't fear COVID. I just had to be hazmat helicarriered out of the White House to a hospital. But don't fear it. Okay, so I've resigned myself to letting go of the 600 a week, but like give me 1,200, man. Like I gotta buy a dining room table. I don't know. It's just ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous. Join us for our new show, Planet Politics, hosted by TJ Cornwell and John Roca on Thursdays. All right, so for the three people that understood that reference, we're going to be moving on to another edition of everybody's favorite thing on this, aside from Tenet Talk, which is the release date shuffle. Surprisingly, we have even more to talk about than the last time we did the release date shuffle. Do the shuffle. Exactly. All right. So I'm just going to run them off right now just so that you guys know. And then we'll just talk about it in general. So a lot of these, basically, primarily, these are Warner Brothers changes because Warner Brothers had a huge shift when they moved Dune, and it was just kind of the dominoes falling where they just kept on getting pushed back and pushed back. So basically, Dune got pushed from December of 2020 to all the way to...
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
I'm really upset. I'm about 7
Dune?
hours into Dune. I'm 7 hours into it. It's really good, actually. It's funny because the person who voices Jason Momoa's character sounds a lot like him, which is kind of weird.
Is this a new recording or is this older?
What do you mean?
Like, is it a new Audible like recording with like newer voices, or is this like one that was recorded like a while ago, like book on tape? Okay,
it was probably a while ago.
I might get it right now.
We share the
6 Audibles credits. Yeah, I have 6 Audible credits. I have not.
So you don't have to get it.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that our Audibles are linked.
I re-upped because I wanted to listen to it, so I have it again.
Oh, look at this! Look at this! Your recent addition, Dune. Wow, look at that! I was just about to get it, but it's already on there.
Amazon lets you do that.
It's the same thing of like your home Xbox and sharing games and stuff. Like, like it's like, why does that exist? But thank you. Like, but are you sure? Like, it's whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
I am upset about Dune. That sucks.
Yeah.
And the other thing I just saw, I didn't even know this was happening. The video game adaptation of Minecraft is exiting its March 4th, 2022 date.
You're just going all over on topics, aren't you?
When was that even announced? Was that announced?
Yeah, it was like who was in it? I remember it being announced. I remember, but
what the hell is that going to be? Steve walking around Minecraft just hitting blocks?
I think they're going off of like the
dungeons or something like that. Oh, like the story,
like
the Telltale stuff.
Yes, that's what they're.
Was it Telltale?
I think it was Telltale. Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of. Was they called it like the Minecraft story mode or something? Where it was
Telltale does like narrative games, like comic book like narrative games. So it's like
like Batman, the Telltale.
It's like, do you want to do this or say this? Like stuff like that. Like pick your own adventure.
Yeah, they do like Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, Batman. Those are like the biggest series that they have.
Sorry, continue.
But yeah, and then they did like a couple Minecraft games. But yeah, so I'm guessing it's gonna be like what's her name? The girl that it was introduced that Alex, it's like the counterpart to Steve. The other girl. Also, we should talk about. Finally, it's not a meme anymore. Alex, Steve, zombies, and Endermans are all being added to Super Smash.
Super Smash Bros.
Yeah, which is crazy. I'm definitely gonna get back into that to play. I actually just the other day I set up my my Switch for downstairs, so I might play that actually later. Would you know when the update is coming, or is it already live?
No, is it a paid character or is it free?
Oh, I have no idea. It might be a paid character. But anyways, Minecraft aside, so Dune gets pushed back to 2021. I'm just gonna go not in specifics because there's so many dates and numbers and everything. It's ridiculous. Batman gets pushed from October 2021 to March of 22. Matrix 4, which to me is probably just a weird scheduling thing that might be temporary, gets moved up on the schedule. Yeah, it gets moved up on the schedule by 4 months, from April 2022 to December 2021. And then these are the ones that we're getting real pushes here now. The Flash, which, let me just give you the context here. The Flash, which was originally supposed to hit theaters in 2018, has moved from June 2022 to November 2022. And then Shazam 2, which actually another small update on this. David F. Sandberg, the director, has said, don't worry, it's not going to affect the actual production schedule. It's just purely about when the film's going to be released. Because a lot of fans were like, well, what's going to happen with the kids? They're all going to be like super old. And he was like, no, don't worry. This is all these date changes. So I don't know if that just goes for Shazam 2 or all these films. But David F. Sandberg at least said it's not going to affect the production schedule. It's just simply it'll be sitting on a shelf for that amount of time. And then the really surprising one, because this production, we just talked about new castings for it last week, is that Black Adam has been removed from the release date calendar altogether. It's completely undated.
Damn.
So I think we'll throw it to TJ and then wrap around to Danielle. But the main thing I want to say for the takeaway of this is, Matrix 4 and John Wick 4 are now officially not on the same date anymore, which was, I didn't know. Oh. Nobody really knew who was going to budge on that. Two Keanu's back to back.
Would have loved that.
Great. Oh my God. Can you imagine that night at the drive-in with the double feature? But the main thing I want to say is Black Adam. I mean, I know that David F. Sandberg said Shazam 2's production schedule will not be bumped, but if this kind of delay, The Rock is a busy man. He's an owner of a sports league. He's in 18 movies a year. He's got 2 television shows. He's got a new television show coming out. And that's just the scripted stuff. Who knows what kind of American Ninja Warrior Ultimate Beastmaster he's hosting in South Korea or something.
South Korea.
I don't know. This might have been one of those things where The Rock is like, listen, I had a very limited window to get this thing going. And if you guys are telling me, because I'm trying to think, Black Adam was originally on that November 4th. Sorry. It was originally on the date that Matrix moved to. So Black Adam was supposed to be December 22nd, 2021. So The Rock might be like, listen, if you're talking about pushing Black Adam to 2022, I can't do it. Like, I cannot fit that in my schedule. And if that's the case, that is going to be, in my opinion, that's got to be devastating for this project. Because, I mean, it's been so many years, and it's like, it seems like he finally had the opening in his schedule, and it might just be one of those things where The Rock, it's either the movie is not happening or it can't be The Rock anymore. Because, I mean, you got to work around the schedule. Well, that's why I'm saying.
That seems like something he's wanted to do for a long time. I feel like he's wanted to break into the superhero sphere for a while.
Oh, I don't doubt that. But I feel like it's bigger than him at this point. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I feel like that's why they just removed it altogether.
I don't know. I think he'll still end up doing the movie and everything. I think you could take a break from Jumanji 3, okay? To shoot this movie.
I don't know.
Because I'm assuming this is going to lead into so many more things. I feel like for him as that character or for that character.
Also, you got to think, what contracts is he more loyal to right now? a fresh one starting out with Warner Brothers, or 3 deep with Sony, where he's making 60 million, then 150 million on the sequel, then who knows what he's making on Jumanji 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
like Black Adam's an
know.
unknown quantity in his agenda. So
he's got to replace that gate he tore off.
yeah, it was
See
bare
that?
hands. That was crazy.
Yeah.
That was nuts.
He had to go somewhere and his gate was broken, so he tore it off with his bare hands.
Oh, like in real life?
Yeah, in
Yeah.
real life,
Oh.
The Rock did that.
You're
Yeah.
referencing.
No.
No. No, he literally tore it off. So yeah, so what are your thoughts on the release dates moving around, Danielle? Oh, and then I just have to add, that was another thing I didn't put it in the show notes, but just before we went on, Colin Trevorrow and Universal tweeted out that Jurassic World Dominion has been pushed almost an entire year, now back to June 10th, 2022.
Damn.
Wow.
Who cares?
Wow.
I personally don't have any attachment to any of these films. For Jurassic World, probably the most, because I've seen all of
Yeah,
them.
same for me. Yeah.
Yeah,
Except
I
for
don't know.
Batman.
Well, Batman, wasn't that already pushed because of the Corona?
Yeah, it was
incidents?
supposed to come out. What's it called? The original release date for Batman was June 2021,
Oh, so
um,
they
and then
pushed it.
it went to October 2021, and now it's at March 2022.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any personal attraction to any of these films. I'm sure I'll see them all eventually, but
yeah,
Have they said anything about Fast 9?
yeah. Fast 9 got pushed again too.
Oh,
Fast
they
9,
got
when?
April 2020. No, that's not right. September 2021 from its original April 2020 release date.
I think maybe Vin might just release that on his Instagram.
He said, "All right, we're gonna be
You got the-
we're gonna be watching it in chunks. Check out, follow my reels, my Instagram reels.
Exactly.
Oh man.
Oh boy.
All right.
On to
Well,
the next.
on to the next thing here. That was the release date shuffle. So next up, we have a pretty electric story here. Oh, hey.
Get it?
Which
Oh,
is
good
that on Instagram, well, actually, let me back up a little bit. It was widely, all of a sudden, just like the floodgates burst open the other day, widely reporting, multiple outlets claiming exclusives and stuff that, very surprisingly, that Jamie Foxx is going to be reprising the role of Electro in Tom Holland's MCU Spider-Man 3. Now, those who are Spider-Man fans will know that he played Electro in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which was in the Sony universe with Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. So this was very much people who were not in the know of what's going down with the MCU coming up. Were like, what is going on with this? And then on his Instagram, Jamie Foxx took to Instagram and multiple times confirmed that it is happening, including a tweet with this awesome live action Spider-Verse fan art that he then pulled down because I think Marvel was like, okay, don't get ahead of yourself. But he is back, and he did say on Twitter that he is back and he will not be blue in this one. So whether that's true remains to be seen. But
Yeah.
I'll throw it to TJ first on this one. And I'll also throw in that actually just a few hours ago, there was not a report really, just an actual picture that showed that Spider-Man 3 is actually about to start filming in Queens in 10 days on the 16th of October. There's all these signs up in Queens that say film shoot, do not don't enter or whatever, with the working title of Spider-Man 3. So what are your thoughts on Jamie Foxx returning as Electro? And what are your thoughts on Spider-Man 3 finally getting into production really, really soon here, just in a couple weeks?
I'm excited. I don't remember that movie very well. Spider-Man 2 with Andrew Garfield. I know it's universally disliked, I feel like. I'm excited to see. I don't like his design. That's good that he's not coming as blue, because when I think Electro, I think the guy he has the yellow thing across his face, you know what I mean, the mask and everything.
Yeah, I think the
like that design a
PS4
lot.
game nailed it with where it's like he
Yeah.
doesn't have the big mask, but it's like he has like a scar almost that's like
Yeah.
in the shape of it. I thought that was really really good.
So I'm excited to see Jamie Foxx in a superhero type movie that isn't Project Power.
Yeah.
But this is
man.
really interesting. I'm excited to see how this all connects. So, like, do you
Mhm.
think we're gonna get are we gonna see Andrew Garfield in this? Are we gonna see, because it's his Spider-Man, so
Mhm.
that Jamie
It's
Foxx's
true.
Electro is from. So,
That's true.
do we see Tobey Maguire maybe coming back? Maybe I've been seeing lately that there's a name for him when he's like cool Peter. When he's like infected with the symbiote and he's like walking around,
I
he's
don't
doing his
know.
hair.
Emo
I'm gonna have to look
Peter
it
or
up.
emo man
No,
or
it's
something. I mean, the thing that I'll say on that is I don't think that'll be in Spider-Man 3, but I think that's definitely where this is heading. I feel like all these Spider-Man villain movies are leading up
Yeah.
to the Sinister Six being formed, and I think the whole thing is that I think once the Sinister Six is formed with all these movies, Morbius, Venom 2, all this stuff, I think it's going to be one of those things where the only way to beat it is to bring in other spider people, basically just like the Spider-Verse movie did.
Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I genuinely think the long game with all of this stuff is there's going to be this humongous event that takes place obviously in the MCU, but kind of in the MCU adjacent kind of murky waters thing where it's the Sinister Six versus like a Spider-Verse type of situation. And then just like in the comics, the whole thing's going to kind of go back and everyone will just be in their regular universe.
They call him Bully Maguire.
Bully Maguire?
Yeah.
Oh my lord. I don't know.
All right.
So what
Danielle,
are
do
your,
you have
thoughts,
anything?
Danielle?
I mean, I'm personally not a fan of. I don't get the Tom Holland like obsession. I like Tobey Maguire the best as Spider-Man. I mean, I didn't dislike the past two Spider-Man films, but they just seem very like kid friendly to me, if that makes sense. Like they were catered towards like the younger audiences as opposed to like the Spider-Man. I did see a thing on Facebook today, like right before we started this. It's probably very false, but it's talking about how like Garfield and Maguire in talks to be in Spider-Man 3, according to Fandom Wire. So I don't know how true it actually is, but it's talking about how it's going to involve 3 wall crawlers teaming up to take on various villains from their past, including Electro.
Wow.
Then there's some fake poster, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't get the Tom Holland thing, personally.
Yeah, I can understand that. Like, I understand that, like, it's not for everybody. I feel like Spider-Man's just one of those characters where everybody has their own personal, not interpretation, but their own personal taste as what they want the character to be, type thing. And I think I think it's good that we've gotten 3 pretty much different versions of him, that he's not the exact same every single time. But either way, I'd be excited. I don't know about the Phantom Wire thing. I mean, I'm sure maybe they are. But like I said, I don't think Spider-Man 3 is going to be the movie where this happens. If anything, I think there might be an actual separate film. Just like, you know what I mean? Because it's like the Guardians, there's only been Guardians Volume 1 and Volume 2, but the Guardians of the Galaxy have been in like 5 movies. You know what I mean? Like, I think they're just going to make a film that's going to be, I don't know if you call it Spider-Verse, because the animated one is already literally called Spider-Verse, but maybe you call it Spider-Man versus the Sinister Six or something, and it's not Spider-Man 4, it's just kind of another Spider-Man movie that Tom Holland is also in. And then you could very easily explain that by just calling the movie after that Spider-Man 4. So you are aware that this is kind of a spin-off, one-off type movie.
Do you have any title predictions for Spider-Man 3? Because I
like,
believe they have said that home will be in the title.
I was
do you
Oh,
have
gonna
it's
say.
any-
got to be. Yeah.
Correct.
That's another way that you can differentiate it with the Spider-Verse movie is you don't put home in it. You know what I mean? Make it clear that it's not an
Mhm.
individual Tom Holland movie. I I don't know. I like now they've all just escaped me.
Oh, I just thought of one.
What?
Spider-Man Hometown Hero. But never happened, but it just popped in my head. That or Homesick. I feel like that's like a
Yeah, there
given.
was
Home
like
is where the web is.
wow. Um yeah. I think maybe Homesick or maybe um yeah, I don't know, maybe Home Away from Home or something. I feel like Homesick is just what makes the most sense. I feel like
Yeah.
that just what makes the most sense. Um but yeah, well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I definitely feel like at this point they've got to have home in it. I mean, that's they've put themselves in
Yeah.
a corner with that. Um all right. So then our last news thing here is that Cobra Kai is going to be getting a season 4 renewal at Netflix. So for those who don't know, we've talked about this before as well. I'm a huge fan of the Cobra Kai series. It started off as basically kind of the flagship YouTube original show that they were really, that wasn't like YouTuber focused. There was a lot of
Yeah.
YouTube original shows that starred like
YouTube
YouTubers.
original went down the drain.
Yeah, and this was basically the first one that was like, oh my god, they're doing like a real scripted like actual actors like show. And then like you said, YouTube originals kind of went the way of the dodo, and it just became kind of YouTube Premium, where it was mainly just the no ads and stuff like that. They kind of got out of the original content space. So Cobra Kai season 3 was completely done, and it just had nowhere to air. So Netflix picked it up. They added the first 2 seasons to Netflix to huge success. It was on the top 10 trending page of Netflix for I think 2 weeks. So it had huge numbers on there. And then they just announced a couple days ago that we're getting season 3 very soon. It's going to be dropping I think the first week of January. I think it's like January 3rd, 2021. And then now we get the news that it is also at the same time is going to be renewing it for a 4th season. So it's not just going to be basically a life preserver that Netflix threw them. It's actually just a continued home where the show could be, which I think is really, really good. Because if anybody is a fan of the Karate Kid or anything like that, absolutely. I mean, this show is incredible. It's everything that you want from it. And it's just a really, really good like character study of honestly like depression and like learning to get over like what you're dealing with in your life and stuff, and how to not pass on your issues and your problems to a younger generation, kind of how to not repeat history and not repeat your mistakes in other people. I just think it's a very, very good show. I'm super happy that it's getting an additional season. And it doesn't say like 4th and final season or anything too. I think probably they're going to keep going with this a little bit longer. But what do you guys think about this? Do you guys like the Karate Kid movies? Have either of you seen any of Cobra Kai? What are your thoughts on getting the renewal?
To be completely honest with you, I've never seen a Karate Kid movie. I've only seen the Jaden Smith one.
Get out.
They're on my list. But I'll be sure to watch Cobra Kai after I watch it. Do I have to watch all of the movies, or do I only have to watch the first one to watch this show? There's no like 4 of them. There's like 4 movies.
Not that matter. Like 1
Okay.
and 2, pretty much. 1 and 2. There's
Gotcha.
some little things that tie into 3, but nothing really important. But 1 is the main one, and then if you like Cobra Kai and go past it, you should probably watch the second one.
Okay.
But yeah, it's definitely mainly a sequel to Karate Kid 1.
Okay.
All right, so that will. Or I'm sorry, Danielle, did you have thoughts on it? Karate
No, I've
Kid?
only seen the very first one, and then I've seen the Gene Smith one a lot. That's it.
Wow. Okay.
Justin Bieber did a song, so
Oh, okay. I did not even know that. Okay. So that'll do it for our new news segment. So with that, we'll be right back with our review. All right, everybody. Yeah, there's TJ right there. All right, welcome back, everybody. So after that quick break, we're gonna go ahead and launch right into our review segment. And this week, reached out to Danielle and wanted to see what she would like to review as being our guest. So it was between a couple different options, but we settled on A League of Their Own. Very, very good movie from I believe 1992. But with that, let's go ahead and get some more information on it as he does every week. We'll have TJ read ever so beautifully the IMDb page for this film.
All right. So League of Their Own came out in 1992, rated PG, runtime of 2 hours and 8 minutes. The description says, two sisters join the first female professional baseball league and struggle to help it succeed amidst their own growing rivalry. Directed by Penny Marshall, written by Kim Wilson and Kelly Candale, I think it is. Stars, sorry, let me pull this up. Stars Tom Hanks, Gina Davis, Lori Petty, Madonna, and Rosie O'Donnell, who are kind of like the big hitters, I would say, like in the movie. And then, of course, I can't forget.
A little pun there.
Oh, I didn't even do that. And of course, John Lovitz, very small, very small part in this movie. I find him hilarious, though.
No, thank you. Oh my gosh, he is incredible in this film.
Oh boy.
Oh man. All right, so we will go ahead and flip things over to the box office of this film, like we do every single week when it is available. So this is 1992. Tom Hanks, Madonna, Gina Davis. Rosie O'Donnell, big stars. This movie had a budget of $40 million, not including marketing. Yes, huge budget, humongous budget. Especially for, as the genre is said here, comedy, drama, family, sport film.
Like Air Bud.
Which, yeah, basically, yeah, exactly. So that's a budget of 40 million. I don't know what the marketing budget is, but we'll just go off 40 million here. It had a opening of 13 million, so not very promising, but in its long run, it did scoop up quite a chunk of change and made way more than enough money back. Its total worldwide take was $132 million, 440,000. So it definitely made quite a bit there. Domestically, that breaks down to about 107 million, and then international about 25 million. So it definitely ended up making quite a bit of money, and obviously has had a lasting impact in its success, both in the box office terms as well as in pop culture. As we talked about on the show a couple weeks back, Amazon actually just recently ordered a full series pickup for the reboot of it, with of course, an all-female cast and everything, to be a show on Amazon Prime, which is exciting. But yeah, so let's go ahead and jump right in. For those who don't know, the way our reviews break down is we always give our kind of first up overall general non-spoiler thoughts. Then we'll go around and we will give our star ratings out of 5 stars. And then we'll just kind of hop into a spoiler talk about whatever else we want to about the film before we wrap up the review. So with that, why don't we go ahead and I will defer to the guest. We can give Danielle the floor to speak about her overall general thoughts. And then why don't we do Danielle, TJ, and then me, and then we'll do our star rating. So why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic. I think being like a female watching this growing up, it was a movie that I definitely related to. I've never been girly, and all girls like in film that I saw growing up were princesses and never really played sports or anything. So this definitely like shows you can do anything basically. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, even to this day, it's still relevant in so many aspects. This is not to like offend you. I don't know if you guys realize, but as like being a woman and watching some of these things, it's like, wow, that really hit close to home. As far as some of the scenes go, because a lot of the time stuff is all about looks as opposed to talent. And I don't know, I could watch this like every week, in my opinion. That's just how good I think it is. I still laugh at the jokes every time. Yeah.
Overall, like, I think it's a really good movie about good sibling rivalry and the battle that the two of them have, and especially at the end where I'm not gonna lie, and this is kind of off track too, there's some parts that are, or one part specifically that really it was really made me a little teary-eyed, or I was close to it, and it's also during this time of set during the time of war, and obviously the girls that are married, their husbands are at war, and you definitely feel that during about probably towards the end of the movie, maybe in the middle. I'm not sure when that scene is. But everybody's great in it. Like I said, John Lovitz, he's in it for 5 seconds. Not okay, more than that, 5 minutes. He's so funny. Tom Hanks does great. Gina Davis, amazing. Madonna, Rosie O'Donnell, actually. I was watching it. I probably
fantastic in this. So
she's good. Very like. There's when what's her? Oh my god, I'm so bad with names. Lori Petty, right?
This kid.
Yeah. When she's up to bat and they strike her out the 2 times, and it pans Rosie O'Donnell's character, and she's like screaming, and it's almost one of the funniest things ever. She's like, I can't. I'm not even gonna yell, but
good.
But and Tom Hanks, I feel like he shows a decent amount of range in this movie too, because he's kind of joking most of the movie, but like I said, in that one part where with the husband and everything, and he he's laughing, and then the guy from the military comes in, and he's like straight face, like, like dead
Yeah.
serious, and it really shows that he can go just like at
It's got
snap,
that.
just
It's
like
got that
flip
Tom
from
Hanks switch.
exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, like Danielle said, would you call it a feel good movie too, or no?
I think so. I would think
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
I mean, it's a
And
lot to
redemption
get through, but at
Rede-
the end,
okay,
yeah. So I would just say, I mean, I mean, for me, I mean, obviously, I can't relate to some of the stuff that obviously Danielle gets out of it, or any
Mhm.
woman that watches this. But I definitely, my mom, obviously, I've talked about it on here before. My mom's a huge film fan and made me watch a lot of films that a young kid probably isn't, or a young boy, I would say, it probably isn't exposed to as much, or doesn't care about as much. But I definitely, it had been a long time since I had seen this movie, but prior to that, in like my early life, I definitely watched this movie at least like 25, 30 times. Because my mom's like a huge Gina Davis and Rosie O'Donnell fan. And I mean, honestly, my biggest takeaway of this, aside from the story, which obviously is incredible and the performances are fantastic, is just Tom Hanks. I mean, he is just firing on all cylinders, so good in this film. Like you said, the range where he plays it mostly like comedic, you know what I mean? He's kind of a lighthearted guy, but then when he flips that switch and needs to be serious, or needs to have a serious scene, like either the character or just Tom Hanks in general, it's just so incredible. And then also the other one is obviously Gina Davis is just so good in this. I mean, between this and like Thelma and Louise, like her back then, she was just so fantastic. She was one of the best actresses working at this time, I would say. She's a fantastic lead for the movie. And I definitely, I thoroughly enjoy this every single time I watch it. Same thing, you know what I mean? I don't know if I would say every week, but every month, or bi-weekly perhaps. I
was
would
gonna
watch.
say every day, but I think that's a little much.
Yeah, like I would probably watch this, multiple times a month. It's just so good. Like you said, kind of feel good type, but like kind of a redemptive story. Kind of just makes you feel good once you're done with it. Like,
and
for them.
they hint at the
Reboot.
the subject of bringing black players into it, and people of different color and race, and I think that's also something that's very important that this movie does.
Yeah, I think this would be a great double feature with 42.
Yeah.
All right, so do you want to
do our stars?
Yeah, why don't we go? We'll go in reverse order. So I'll just go. For me, out of 5, I would give this a 4.25 out of 5. That's what I would give. The other one.
I originally gave it a 4, but I think I'm gonna bump it up to 4.5.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a 5. I think it's because I relate to it so much, and I don't know. I mean, I don't play professional baseball, but
yeah. Well, all right. So let's go ahead and we'll hop now into the spoiler section here. So basically, what that is anything that we want to talk about the movie. It's called It's not necessarily spoilers, but just it's everything's free game for whatever corner or aspect of the film that we want to talk about. So let's just go ahead and jump right into the spoiler talk. So whoever wants to go first, you can take it away.
Fun fact. I imagine this is where a lot of the budget went, because before filming, they spent 8 hours a day, 6 days a week for 7.5 months training baseball, because they played all of the like montage scenes and anything that isn't scripted in the script. They played just days of shooting where they were just playing baseball, and they were just filming it and putting it together. So that almost 8 months of just training of all the actors getting to do it. So I imagine that's where a decent amount of the budget went towards.
Yeah, I would say definitely. That's awesome.
Can we just talk about real quick, maybe the best line uttered in cinema history?
Oh yeah.
The line escapes me, but Danielle has it written down. I'm sure.
Give her the good old pickle tickle.
John Lovitz.
Actually,
Man.
so this is another tidbit. John Lovitz's character, that was the only character written with an actor already in mind. When they wrote that character, they said, we need John Lovitz to play this character.
I had heard that before. That's so funny.
Like said, this is who we need.
It's gotta be him.
And he was perfect in it.
Yeah.
So.
And like you said, for like the 3 or 4 minutes that he's on screen, it's just gold. It's just so good.
That, and then you have the classic Tom Hanks. Are you crying?
Yeah.
There's no crying in baseball, and oh my god, that. Oh, and then what's his name? What's the kid's name?
Stillwell.
Stillwell.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of comedic beats in this movie. I feel like to kind of ease the tension that the two sisters have with each other.
Yeah.
And then just bring it back. Sorry, the other scene where I feel like Tom Hanks shows a decent amount of range is when Dottie's getting into the car and she's about to leave them, just like kind of high and dry, and he's like, like I threw away 5 years to my drinking, like I do everything to get them back, and she's like, well, I don't need this, like I don't care, and then he kind of like goes off on this like tangent for like a quick like minute. It's just another scene that I thought that he kind of showed like what he's able to do, and he did this when he's like he's not as known, right? When he did this movie, not like he's known, but he's not like the Tom Hanks we know today.
It's like he's just about to hit that Forrest Gump like area. Yeah, like he's about to go into like Forrest Gump, Philadelphia, all that stuff in a row. Like I think Big was before this, I think. But like dramatic,
which Penny Marshall also did. I
had definitely. Oh yeah, him and Penny Marshall worked together a ton. But yeah, the dramatic Tom Hanks had yet to be really on display in full force.
Every time I listen to John Lovitz talk, I think of oh my god, what's his name? Marge's ex-boyfriend, The Simpsons, that he voices. Do you know that character?
No, I never seen it.
Oh my god, it's so funny.
Well, every time I hear Tom Hanks yell, I think of Woody. You are not a toy, or you are a toy.
Yeah.
So that's what I was thinking of, that whole like rant. But
oh man.
And then the let's just talk the when he's like, just give me the telegram, just give me the telegram, and he pushes the war guy out, and he's he turns around and he's looking at all the women, and they start to sit down as he walks by them, and he walks up. What's the girl's name?
Betty Spaghetti.
Betty Spaghetti. He walks up to Betty Spaghetti, and he's like, "I'm sorry." Oh my god, breaks my heart.
That scene that gets me is, if you recall, early in the film when he's first introduced to the team, Betty is holding the baseball card that belongs to her husband, who is at war, that he treasures of Jimmy. And she's just, all she wants is him to sign this card, and he rips it up in front of her. So the fact that later he's comforting her, I think it really brings it full circle, that they started very like, the one thing my husband wanted was your autograph, and now you're the one telling me he's dead. It's just...
Yeah. And that's another thing that I like about this, is that easily they could have taken the easy road out and just done like the tension between those two characters, or just the tension between the sisters. Even they could have just been like, everything else is fine, but it's like, oh, these two, they gotta get past their differences. You know what I mean? It's like, but the fact that they took the time to flesh out and make multiple relationships between the different girls and with Tom Hanks, the entire film, it just elevates. It's one of those movies that what's the saying? It's summer than or it's greater than the sum of its parts, or whatever. Like it's like every single little thing in this movie they got right, and so it just makes the whole thing just feel so much better. You know what I mean? Just better as a whole. I don't know. It's just one of those movies that I think is just firing on all cylinders. It was just very, very good the whole time.
Yeah. And then I think if I recall correctly, when I first watched this movie, I always thought there was going to be like a bigger relationship between Dottie and Jimmy, whereas like a romantic relationship. And it kind of shows you very quickly, like as soon as her husband like is back, or even before that, is it's not what this movie is. Like it's not like, oh, her husband dies at war and then she has Jimmy here to comfort her and then they get together.
Yeah.
It's more of them like showing respect for each other, I guess, because
Mhm.
if I remember correctly, they're kind of butting heads right at the beginning. I mean, they kind of butt heads throughout the entire movie, but
Yeah.
It like starts as he clearly doesn't give a crap about coaching. He's just there for the paycheck. And the only reason he really starts to coach is because Dottie is basically coaching the team. And he's just like, I'm going to tell you that you're wrong and I'm better than you. So he's doing it out of selfishness and his own self-pride. And actually the production team had split opinions on the Dottie-Jimmy relationship, whether it should be more than a friendship or that, whatever. And that's why like there's some tension in some scenes. But I think it's really mainly there. Like if you look at the bus scene, there's some tension when they're talking about her husband and his past relationships. But I think it's mainly because he's not used to being on a friendship level with a woman, like someone that can challenge him without any sexual relationship there. But yeah,
definitely. I mean, I just is there anything else you guys have that you specifically want to hit on with the movie, or anything else that spoke to you guys watching it?
No, I don't have anything like specific.
I really, really like the character of Marla. That's the one who basically, if you look at her, I don't think she's like an ugly woman. But of course, you put her next to Gina Davis and Madonna.
Yeah.
The thing is, the whole time they're hinting like she's just ugly beast, no matter how talented she is. Which is weird because then, not to dig on anybody's looks, but then the next scene, it's like Rosie O'Donnell just like spitting on the grass. So clearly they don't have high expectations. But I just like her character development as she like finds herself finally being with women, being a woman.
Yeah.
And also, this is not at all what I was talking about, but I just found out, I don't know how I didn't realize this. So older Dottie in the beginning and the end, I didn't realize Gina's voice is dubbed over that actress.
Oh, I did not realize that at all.
Yeah, because the first few times I watched...
Wait, over who?
The actress who plays old Dottie.
Oh.
Yeah, and like the bookends of the movie? Yeah.
Gina, because the actress, well, Gina Davis has a very distinct, recognizable voice. And the actress, it was just not even near anything like that. They didn't think it would even be believable that she was portraying an older Gina Davis. So when I watched this past time, you can kind of, if you focus on it, you can notice. But yeah, they dubbed Gina Davis's voice over the woman who plays her older self.
Wow. Awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, I definitely, like we always try to do, is we try to say, do we recommend watching it? I absolutely would say wholeheartedly recommend watching it. I mean, it's a great, like we said, it's a great redemptive arc kind of film. It's a great feel-good movie, and it's just a great, it's just one of those classic, at its core, one of those classic sports movies that's just like, it just teaches you, you gotta, sometimes you just have to band together no matter how much you might like cry or scream or whatever about it. You know what I mean? You just, sometimes teamwork is what really helps and what brings you together and gives you that feeling of togetherness and being a part of something bigger than just yourself, which is, in the end, what the team stands for and what it becomes. Which, as we hinted at a little bit, is that, loosely based on real events, with these characters and with this situation and stuff. I just think it's a fantastic movie. I absolutely recommend it. I'm assuming I know your guys' answers, but you guys recommend the film as well?
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, that'll do it for the review segment here. So then the last one here before we head out for today is going to be our shooting the shit segment. So this is, like we said, we have Danielle on because she is starting her own podcast with one of her friends called Rants on Fire. So she's just going to go ahead and let us know a little bit about what the podcast is and what you guys can kind of expect, and maybe where you can find it. And after the show, I might have Danielle send me like a link or anything to the page, and I can throw it in the description too.
Yeah, so actually around this time last year is when we talked first about doing a podcast. I used to vlog a lot, but then COVID happened and I wasn't leaving my house, so there was no point of doing vlogs because it would just be literally me watching Netflix in bed. So my best friend and I, we've been friends since the 3rd grade, so like over 15 years, decided to do this podcast, and we weren't sure what to call it or what to discuss because we weren't, like, you guys talk like TV and film. We didn't really want to be stuck on a specific like topic
Yeah.
per se. We decided to just do every week a new topic just to rant about. We're really good at usually just going on and about something we feel strongly about, whether it's movies or like pop culture. So yeah, every Thursday it's going to be on, well, it's available on mainly everything. It's like on Apple Podcasts already. Well, not already, the trailer is. Spotify, it's through Anchor, which is what you guys use.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter already, trying to build an audience. And hopefully this will help. So yeah,
Boom.
that's.
Yeah, well, I mean, definitely, you know, obviously we're gonna definitely check it out and give it a listen once it goes up. And when is the first episode? Is it this Thursday, the 8th?
It, as of right now, yes.
Okay.
Should be.
And do you have, do I dare ask, for the loyal Planet Film listeners, do you have any inkling? Can you give us any hint of what maybe episode 1 is going to be about, or what you're thinking?
Yeah, I can just tell you. It was a Twitter trend not too long ago. It's actually has to do with film and TV. We're doing like our opinions of the actual film villain versus what is depicted as like the film villain. So like the
Oh, I
movie's
see.
perception of the
I
film
remember that.
versus
Yeah.
our own opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah. I mean, awesome. So we're definitely glad to have you on, and check that out. I'll probably get a few of the links of the main ones, like the Apple Podcast link and the Anchor link and the Spotify link, and I'll probably throw them in the description of this. And then always check out the audio version of this podcast. I just find it on Planet Film Pod on any of those. But yeah. So again, and let me remember to say again, if you like the videos, if you like the shows that we do here, make sure you go ahead and get subscribed, comment, like the video, comment, like. Make sure you get the bell on to make sure that you never miss an upload. I don't know. I'm wanting to get back into posting gaming content, but this, has been such the primary focus is getting these shows going. I don't know if I might rebrand this channel into just the primary, Planet Film channel, and then just do a secondary thing for the gaming. I'm not really sure, but I'm trying to get gaming back up and running, at least on Twitch at first a little bit, and then I'll determine what to do with the YouTube in the future. But again, we thank you so much, Danielle, for being on, and for joining us. And, I'm sure, for however long we're doing this, probably will not be the last time that you're on. If there's a big movie that you want to review, or if there's some big topic, or just if we have kind of a light week or something, who knows. But definitely check it out. It's going to be Rants on Fire podcast, coming out hopefully this Thursday. If not, you can take a look in the description at any of those links to stay up to date on it, and subscribe to that feed as well. So yeah, I think that'll do it for me. If you guys have anything else to say, do you guys want to throw in anything else?
How me? I'm always just right behind that door.
Yeah. And then I forget to say this too. Let's give our Twitter handles as well. So I'm, as you guys know, at Paste Eating Yak on Twitter.
I'm at TJ_Cornwell on Twitter.
And I'm at Danny Degener.
Boom. All
You can
right.
spell-
So, as always, my name is Sean Monk.
I'm TJ Cornwell.
And I'm Danielle Degener.
All right. And stay safe out there, guys. Always remember to be excellent to each other and party on, dudes. We'll catch you in the next one.